Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal show, King of the Gumpers. Oh dear, how are you this morning? And this may be the last time you see me like this. This is a bit ominous, isn't it, saying it like that? No, don't worry. I am going to be shaving all of this off. Quite inspired yesterday by a conversation I had with Francis. Well, Michael Heron was here, wasn't he, yesterday? And we started to talk about Movember and old Hieronymus Maximus. That's a bit 2004, isn't it? Well, I can see what he's talking about. It does seem like quite a long time ago that this began. But the issues at stake that Movember brings our attention to globally are worse than I think in the 2000s, are they not? So we'll talk more about that. And are any of you other gentlemen or women? I think it's probably best for women to take part in this. Are you willing to shave it all off today? Not it all, the facial hair, shave all of that off today, and then grow a moustache for November as a little bit of reminder and awareness raising. So already, no. Is it because is it so cold? It's so cold in Germany that you're keeping that bad boy on there, Jim? I wonder. So who's up for that this morning? Who's in this morning? And it's moved to Portugal Thursday. So, of course, we have often a live guest on a Thursday talking about their journey to Portugal. And we've got a great guest this morning, Nick Robinson. From Algarve Addicts, and I think there are a few people here already this morning. Algarve Addicts here. Look, Andrew's saying, I can't wait to hear all about it. A fellow paddleboarder, right? Andrew, I'm going to ask him about paddleboarding. And yes, Nick, so look at Nick is great, isn't he? I'll jump on around 8:45. See you all later. I've heard such wonderful things about your community. So behave, everybody, when Nick's here. Everyone says you're super friendly. So make sure you are, okay? No trolling type questions for Nick. That wouldn't be funny or fair now that he said that. We don't do that anyway, do we? Alla bon dia from a sunny Fuseta in the beautiful Algarve. Steps from the beach. Life is good. So have you been turned, Andrea and Tom? And maybe this will be the final. What's the best way of putting it? I won't say what immediately came to mind, but will this be the final persuasion? Talking to Mr. Nick Robinson, as you refer to him there. Life is good. Ready for another great show. I do not know Mr. Nick Robinson. Well, you will after this. And you say you can't wait to hear his story. So it might be that you thought it was Central Portugal for you. Current champions, of course, it has to be said. Or champion. When we had those, does anybody remember about a year ago we had the championship of the best place to live in Portugal, and Central Portugal won. Jerry trounced the opposition. In fact, he beat Hieronymus Maximus in the final. It was Lisbon Ribatejo versus Central Portugal, and Jerry won it. He won it with a pretty good presentation about where he lives. But have you been turned, Andrea, from Central Portugal towards the Algarve now? I can see how that would happen. I honestly can. Andy Sabios, who is this? Giving the old two-finger salute to, it's either peace or the opposite. Bom dia, desejando a você Diwali brilhante e alegre. So a joyous and bright Diwali. So is it official? See, Diwali is today the epicenter of the celebration. Maybe Eusebio knows that. We of course, we talked to Priti over the weekend about Diwali. We were talking about All Saints, All Souls, Halloween, Diwali, and all the festivals that seem to happen at this time of year. This very special time of the year when it's getting darker and the veils between the worlds are thinnest, as I understand it. And we spoke about Diwali, and of course, that is characterized, I think, or she seemed to be saying, of the battle of light against dark that our humans are forever locked in. So is today the big day of Diwali, or is it a more generalized festival? Forgive my ignorance, but it's great to be ignorant in a community like this because you can own up to without shame to not knowing things, and people will help you. Isn't that the right sort of world to be in? Talking about light versus dark. Deagle's here, so thank you for that, Eusebio. MCWT, tell us more. Bon dia, Carl. First night back, almost over. Oh, I see. Okay, so are you checking in quickly from work? We'll watch show, or having just finished work, we'll watch show when I get home. 15 minutes completed yesterday. Well done. So you definitely deserve a little bit of this. Where are you, Philomena? Muito bem to you, Diego, and anyone else who's done their 15. I, for one, have joined Memrise now, and I'm very impressed. Isn't it great? Currently, is it safe to put this on the screen? Yeah, I was going to sign up for Memrise. I think you can go on that for free. It's a freemium model, isn't it? As so many things are these days. So I'll put on the screen now, which I think is a very good offer from them. Of course, you know, we love working with Mia, because we can actually speak to Mia, and she joins us on the show. And I don't, there's not really a personality part of Memrise, is there? As far as I'm aware, maybe there is. And I do like the platforms or options where we can actually speak to somebody. So we talk to Philomena, don't we, about language and culture, and we talk to Mia about language and culture. But a very good adjunct, I think, to what they do is this fantastic offer. Look at this. They're advertising a year of just over €2 or just under €3, I think, for the month if you pay for it in advance. And normally, as you can see there, their deal would be 69, which still isn't bad, is it, for a year's language support? And I think, you know, it's the artificial intelligence, it's the machines, and it's online learning. But that said, at $69.99, that's not so bad, is it? And you can get a 50% off discount, I think, for the next 4 days. So I'll be joining your group, Matty. Thank you so much for setting that up. And I'm very impressed with Memrise. Get that today for $34.99. And I think that offer lasts. They're celebrating 60 million users of Memrise. Isn't that brilliant? Isn't this a great time to be alive, where there are so many ways to learn and so many people trying to help you learn? You know, we should have this sorted, this human being business, quite soon, shouldn't we, with all the help that's available to us? So there you go. Half price on the old Memrise there for the next few days to celebrate their 60 millionth user of the service. I think that's a great deal. So I'll be joining your group soon, Matty. Thanks for that, for the prompt and push towards Memrise. And I only did a few minutes. Falash this morning. And I just, in my mind, I'm hearing Sean Connery saying, Falash. Would you like to see my Falash? Talking of Portuguese, of course. Thunder Duck, bon dia, alegria. How are you, Thunder? I won't be able to stay too long today. I've got 2 doctor's appointments and we need to get ready for them. I wonder, does that mean a wash? Does that mean an intimate wash, Thunder? I wonder. But good luck with those, mate. Not making light of your medical procedures or illness. I hope those are standard routine things and you're not in too much bother on the medical side. So lots of love to you both. And good luck with that today. Oh, and happy Bandy Chor Divas. Of course, everyone would want to wish everyone else that, wouldn't they, on a day like today? Actually, again, I don't know what Eusebio is saying there. So please elaborate, Eusebio. And who is that in the picture? Come on, who is that? Giving 2 fingers to the world. Thunder, it's all of us, isn't it, at some time in our lives? Thunder, every man there. Thunder Duck, stay well, Duckster. Isn't that nice? Nice little nickname with the Gumpers. And there's the Duckster of the Gumpers there. Hi, Andrea. It's Nick here. I have a long story. I hope it doesn't get boring. We hope so too, Nick. It won't. I'll jump on around 8:45. See you all later. Yes, there. So he's heard such wonderful things about us all. So yes, be super friendly, everybody. Behave. I can't wait to hear all about it. There you go. Good morning from Gemini Bradshaw. So thank you for your kind words, Gemini. I really appreciate those that you sent through to me and Mrs. M. Oh, look at this. Today's profile pic should be easy. So a championship, a cup. A prize to anyone who can name him. It will only be one of those on the screen, I think, unless he's got an idea to send you something. But you don't want to be sending anything to Portugal from the UK. It's a disastrous situation. It really is. Digital only, I would say, if you're sending anything from UK to Portugal at the moment. But who wouldn't want a nice little trophy emoji from Eusebio this morning? I do, MCWT. And I don't know who that is. I'm so sorry. He makes me the prof. That's his job, in it, to make us feel a little bit light on the knowledge side. But I'm always happy to be educated by Eusebio. Bom dia, Gumpers. Feliz quinta-feira. Feliz quinta de day a todos. Estudei 30 minutos ontem e 10 minutos até agora hoje. So not too bad at all there. Well done. You're rocking it, I think. You always done 10 minutes before you join us, James. Very good. And James, of course, our guest in this slot next week, the banana slug man. And hopefully we'll find out about other sides to his character apart from his fondness for our mascot. Is it the Gumper mascot as well then, or is it the Dr. Bayard lozenge paste that is our? I suppose that's our mascot, isn't it? And I wonder if we can get a trip around the Bayard factory when enough of us are gathered here in Portugal. I think it's up in Porto, if I remember rightly. And again, Eusebio was on it, telling us about that. So that'll be interesting, wouldn't it? Going there and maybe that's at the moment the humble Dr. Bayard's lozenges, our mascot, and I buy them to eat and suck myself, and the kids and Mrs. M just take them. Willy-nilly, with no regard for me. You know, the driver of the car, do you not think that the driver of the car should have a special attention and be cared for tenderly, given that they have such a big responsibility? But no, they just take the last sweet wantonly. Morning, which will include my Dr. Bayards. Morning, all you lovely gumpers. Coach Turner's here, everybody. Look sensible. Drop and give us 5. Parabens, you've reached Thursday. Ever the encourager. I'm traveling this morning, so I'll catch up later. Enjoy the Algarve stories. Indeed. Thanks, Ian. And we are completing in this week on module 3 of the Growing Old Disgracefully. Really good job you're doing there, sir. I really appreciate you for that. Anna Olsen is here. Bon dia from Olyar. Yesterday was spent with my car that got crashed. What? Oh no, that's a terrible welcome. So the window was smashed by someone trying to do a burglary. Today is a new fresh start. Well, we're really sorry to hear that. That's awful. And I hope that's sorted out quickly and without too much bother there. And I wonder whoever did that, you poo-poo head. That's as nasty as I feel I can be live on air. Don't do that. Come on. Don't be doing that to people's cars, and especially Anna's. Bon dia todos. I hope you're all good. 5:15 errands this morning, but we'll get there. So what's that? You've done 5 out of your 15. Not too bad. Not too bad. It's all about the intention, isn't it? And everything. I think things have changed a lot since we've had this intention, whether or not we fulfill the full 15. So I'm muito bem to you, Francis. And thank you, Francis, for pointing us towards Movember. I don't know if you were here right at the beginning, but I'm going to have a haircut this afternoon, fingers crossed. I'll look very different tomorrow. And all of this is coming off. And I will be growing a moustache. Now, I haven't heard back from Andy this morning because he sent me a couple of pictures. Should I take the risk and show these pictures of Andy and his tash growing? Hey, what is moustache in Portuguese, everybody? Because you're going to need to know that. Anyone who's taking part in this. I'm wondering if I should do that or if that's naughty to share that picture of Andy. I think he's got a good sense of humor. I don't think you'll mind. Bon dia, Carly. I thoroughly enjoy Nick's YouTube videos and look forward to what he has to say this morning. No pressure, Nick. It's going to be great talking to Nick. I want to find out about paddleboarding. And Matty's here with hola, bon dia todos, Amsterdam this morning. Brief and to the point. Jersey P, hola, bon dia, Carl. Come on, you're a bit slow with that beer there, Jersey. Come on. We want to see a profile pic with it half drunk. You know, like those pens, those cheeky pens you used to get that would have a beer in them. Or a naked lady, for that matter, with a swimsuit on up one way, tip it up the other way, and her swimsuit is gone. And I'm sure there were beer ones as well. We need that on your profile pic there. Alex Scott, great to see Nick here. Love both channels. Cheers, Alex. Appreciate it. And Jim, not happy about the beard going. We shall see. Hi, bro. 51 years of age. Can apply for a work permit visa. Well, Iqbal, good morning to you in Kuwait. You can. I mean, there are job opportunities here where people come over and work. But I'm wondering if you're looking for a longer-term residency visa. Have a chat with our friends at EI, if you will. You know I'm in yes to Movember. Excellent. So you and I will be doing that, Francis. And is Mario Suarez there? Prime Minister Mario Suarez from... Should it be a Suarez? Mario Suarez, Prime Minister from 76 to 78, and then again from 83 to 85, like the comeback kid of politics in Portugal, and the 17th President from 86 to 96. Again, that's amazing. Is that normal here in Portugal, that people return to power in that way? He was the first democratically elected PM after the 25th of April. So, yes, after the revolution, of course, he would have been a dear figure in the hearts of the Portuguese. And bon dia whimpers. He won't let it lie, will he? Gimpers. Oh no, it just isn't working. Stop it, Pete. A little cloudy and cool here in Cape Town. I'm solar powered, so feeling like a nap. Oh, you're personally solar powered. Very good. Nothing wrong with that. Good morning, everybody. I look forward to hearing Nick and his Algarve experience, especially since that's where we are right now. Wonderful things, super friendly. Maybe Nick's on the wrong channel. Stop winding him up. He's here now, Mr. Nick.
I'm on the wrong channel.
They're just winding you up, and me doing it on purpose. They're a lovely bunch, as you will find out this morning. How are you, sir?
I'm fantastic, thanks. I've heard so much about your community. I think it sounds great. I'm really happy to be here. So thanks so much for having me on, Carl. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you are so welcome this morning. Live from the Algarve, I take it. You've not flown anywhere else. You're actually the Algarve addict in the Algarve this morning, I take it.
I'm always in the Algarve. Yeah, I love it. But it's getting a bit chilly today. It was 9 degrees this morning. So you guys up north must be even colder.
Unbelievable. Only 9 degrees. That's freezing for Portugal, isn't it?
It is.
Pretty much, relatively speaking.
It'll go up to 20 later, I'm sure.
Yeah, and that's the thing, isn't it? That's an important note to sound. It is the differential in temperature that you get in a day in Portugal. And one of the most incredible descriptions I've heard about Portuguese weather is actually a cold country with a hot sun. And that this time of year, you see that when the sun is gone, it can be chilly and damp. But then when that sun comes back and it will rise from 9, as Nick says, to 20 later on today, it's quite remarkable that. And the morning is forgiven all of a sudden, isn't it? You've forgotten how cold it was in the morning.
Yeah, exactly.
So tell us about yourself, first of all. Let's set the scene. I think you've been in the Algarve for a little while now, haven't you?
I have been for a fair amount of time. Yeah, I came down to the Algarve 21 years ago. And yeah, it's crazy. So basically, I was working in Cape Town in IT and was hopping from job to job. And it was, do you remember the .com explosion, Carl?
So do, yeah.
Yeah, it was going nuts down there as well. So I was doing quite well and enjoying myself. And then all of a sudden, my cousin said to me, hey, why don't you come to Portugal and manage my restaurant? And I was like, no. I'm good.
Of course. Why wouldn't you?
I said, no ways. I'm not going to do that. So then a year later, I just moved into this new job and it was really high tech and I didn't know what I was doing. And they were talking all these weird algorithms and acronyms and whatever. So I decided, let's go to Portugal for a break. I'll just go there for 6 months and just take a working holiday. I used to work in a restaurant when I was at university.
Yeah.
So, I've got this and I can do it. So I worked in his restaurant for 6 months and I absolutely loved it. And I remember arriving in Portugal in, it was the year 2000. So it was about March and it just, all the rains had just finished. And I was taking the train down. I was looking around, just see all this rain lying in the Alentejo, all the water lying in the Alentejo. And, but it was such an amazing experience. I arrived in Lisbon and I walked down to Cais de Sodré and I took the ferry across to the train because you couldn't actually take the train across the river in those days.
Wow.
And yeah, so metro, ferry, and then train all in one day. It was like, wow, it's like a world in 80 days. It was beautiful.
That's a fantastic arrival because that is one of my favorite places. I gravitated towards Cais de Sodré. And going across that ferry and seeing the bridge in the distance, that must have been so special.
Oh, it was incredible, especially it was sunrise, and that's my favorite time of the day. And it was just incredible. It was beautiful sunrise, clouds, and then breaking, and then coming over across, and then going down to Barreiro station, and then catching the train all the way down through the Alentejo, which is, as I'm sure many people on here have done that. Hopefully you have, because it's a beautiful train ride. And you can these days you can sit in first class and have a nice little breakfast as you're going through the Alentejo. And then, you're seeing all those beautiful little whitewashed villages. And it was so totally alien from South Africa. Very different story,
Yeah. Quite incredible. So clearly a lot's changed in Portugal in 21 years then.
Yeah, especially in the Algarve. I mean, it's incredible to see the amount of development. And, well, just to put it in perspective, the first shopping mall opened a little bit later that year in 2000, and it was called Algarve Shopping. And there were no shopping malls in the Algarve at all. And now there's like 10.
Incredible, isn't it? Look at this. Yeah. People are pleased to see you this morning. Nick Robinson, Capricorn 12 legend.
There's somebody from Botswana. Hi, Pippa. That's fantastic.
Pippa from Botswana, and our mate Francis Gersbach, who's jumping in with me to shave our faces for Movember. He's in Cape Town this morning. He was the one describing himself as solar powered. There he is this morning. Yeah, he feels like a nap. The sun's gone in there. So, I mean, before we move on to the Algarve and Portugal, then, so you jumped ship out of IT when you felt the change in the industry. Did you not want to be part of all of that, or what put you off?
No, well, I wanted to carry on. I just came here for a break, and I worked for my cousin in his restaurant for 6 months. And then I obviously, it was fun working in the restaurant, but that wasn't really my career line. So I started my own IT business down here.
Okay.
And what I did was I started building websites and digital marketing more, because I was more in the tech side of stuff back in South Africa. So it was a very different environment. It was obviously not a corporate environment down in the Algarve. So I was trying to produce websites and do email marketing and things for small businesses down here, using Russians and Indian guys on the internet to.
Of course.
Yes. So
I forgot about that. Yes, I forgot about the Russians on the internet, because that was, we're talking about the world was recovering from the Y2K thing that didn't really happen, and then moving straight into a world where Bill Gates was saying this internet thing will never catch on, right? So So not only has a lot changed for Portugal and the Algarve, a lot has changed in the world since you placed yourself here with the. The world has been transformed entirely by the internet, hasn't it, and business.
It has, and apparently Facebook is transforming it once again with the metaverse. Have you heard about that news?
I've heard about the Fetaverse. A little bit cheesy, I think. And I mean, okay, you're an IT guy. So before we really get into the Algarve talk and the Portugal talk, what do you make of that as an IT person? What do you think Zuckerberg and his pals are up to with that?
Zuckerberg. Oh, yeah. I think he's basically saw Second Life, which was a thing happening basically around the year 2000, and thought, wow, that'd be cool. Let's go. But I think what he's actually trying to do is he's a bit upset with the fact that Apple runs the whole deal when it comes to mobile phones. So there was obviously Bill Gates and the computers, and then Apple's got the mobile phones and obviously Android as well. And he's trying to monetize the goggles, the VR goggles.
Oh, okay. That's how it'll be experienced.
Yeah. So that's his metaverse is going to be experienced through these VR, whether they like Google Glass, or it's actually Oculus is a company that he's bought.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah.
And that's what he's trying to build, is this huge sort of virtual world. So whether that catches on like Facebook did or not is another story.
Well, hopefully, not hopefully. I don't wish anyone ill, but I mean, often with sort of megalomaniacal type leaders who are quite unaccountable in a way, they have a pet project, don't they, which becomes their undoing. And this looks like it could be it for him, quite honestly, because a lot of us, I'm thinking you and me here, we're probably not going to want to live the rest of our lives looking through goggles, are we?
Probably not. No, I don't think. I think I'd feel a bit sick, actually, to be honest. But it really does make an amazing Hollywood script. If you think about science fiction, you just start right here, right now, and you can just build out the whole story. It just sounds like it could go incredibly wrong.
Yeah, exactly. And for us, I mean, we've come to Portugal, haven't we, to live a real life. And you use that phrase, don't you? You talk about the real Portugal as well, I believe, in how you approach what you do. And so for us, it's very much about, what we love about Portugal, I think, jointly here is that it is the quality of the real life here, not a virtual one. Why would we want to live in a virtual world when life in Portugal is so good in so many ways?
Absolutely. And I think when you take that to a different level as well, I mean, the Algarve Tourism Board and also the Portugal Tourism Board, they do a fantastic job of promoting the country. But I've always looked at that kind of promotions as manicured. And you know what happens? I'll get I don't know if this is true because I'm not in the tourism board, but I'm pretty sure that they have some very, very highly qualified cinematographers and photographers, and they go out and produce incredible content, and they, sort of edit it to a T.
Yeah.
And that's what I meant by real life in Portugal. It's just me here sitting in the Algarve saying, this is how it is. And like, for example, I made a video the other day and it was overcast, and I was thinking, well, this isn't good. It's overcast. What are people going to think? There's no rain in Portugal. I mean,
Mm.
it's always overcast in Portugal, but that's real life. And I just thought, no, I'm not going to wait for a sunny day. I'm just going to film it right now.
Yeah, and this is part of the change that I was mentioning before, and you've ridden this change, haven't you? Is that we have gone from that high production, high value production stuff, high budget stuff, into a world now where the likes of you and I can have YouTube channels with very low overheads, and we can be, well, I suppose we have to be much more authentic and real and transparent, and say this is how it is. And we're lucky, aren't we, to have the subject matter we have, because it doesn't need to be messed about with all sorts of filters and effects. And I know exactly whenever we play one of those tourist films on here, people say, "Oh, is that the tourist board?" And now it's changed people's expectations. I think people do want more authenticity and transparency. So there you are, the IT guy who's got the restaurant gig, decides he wants to stay in Portugal and loves the Algarve. You're doing the websites for people. You're working with Indian and Russian tech people, and then for some reason you're coming from behind the desk and the screen to being on the screen. Can you plot that transition for us? I mean, that's been quite a long arc. That's over 20 years, isn't it? But when did you first start thinking, okay, well, I'm going to put myself in front of the camera rather than being a tech guy?
Well, it was kind of more of a decision to, I was working for clients all the time. And to be honest, I don't really like working for clients that much, because they want a blue box, not a red box. And it's like, and I want the text up there and the text down there. And I'm like, well, this is actually going to make it better and you're going to make more money this way. And they're like, no, I want it this way. I'm like, okay, we'll do it like you want. So there's all kinds of fun things. And then when's my website ready and all that kind of stuff. So I've always wanted to try and build my own project, something, my own business, my own online business, and not rely so much on clients. And it was a really hard transition to make. So back in 2014, I jumped on this thing called Outdoors in Portugal, because and some of you guys might know me, one or two of you might know me from my videos, but I really love getting outdoors, and I love paddleboarding, I love cycling and biking, all that kind of stuff. And I decided to launch this thing called Outdoors in Portugal, and that was my thing. And I got my daughter to come on, and she sort of helped me a little bit. It was fun, and we did a blog. And it was great. I loved it. And then some hacker got involved, and one day I woke up and it was all just Outdoors in Portugal had become porn.
What?
And I was like, yeah, because some hacker had got into the website and put up porn in place of my website. So I managed to pull it down really quickly, and then didn't get it back up. But I started going into podcasting quite a lot because I really enjoyed that, and then that sort of gravitated into video. And I really enjoy video because it's quite difficult to get into, I felt, because it's so intensive when you have to edit a video. I know you don't really edit that much, do you, Carl?
I'm so lazy, Nick. The reason I love live streaming is it's done, and I don't. I honestly take my hat off to anyone in this business, this world, who has the. I mean, I do video editing, in other aspects, but I'm known for my quick and dirty approach. And I'm not referring to what happened to your website before. I'm talking about I just don't like to spend a lot of time in that environment, post-production. I love the live streaming, and so I really take my hat off to you for producing something beautiful and having the patience to do so.
And I really enjoy the whole process. I love it. I mean, it's just it's hard to sort of build out that time and block it off. Yeah, but it's really rewarding, and I really enjoy it. So yeah. Editing is obviously a major part of my workload these days, and because I'm doing this sort of more or less full time. I've got another big project on board as well.
Well, it's unlikely, but for anybody who hasn't heard about you, how if they type in Algarve Addicts, they're going to find you. Is that the easiest way?
Yes, yeah, youtube.com/Algarve Addicts. That's the thing. I've got a website as well, which I'm wanting to update, algarveaddicts.com.
It's typical. So it's a bit like how the cobbler's children are always the most poorly shod, and the builder's house is never finished. The website designer's website is not as you'd quite like it to be.
Oh, it's terrible. I want to, yeah. I mean, you see all these beautiful, sexy new websites and things, and your website's actually really nice. Your Expats Portugal website's lovely.
Thank you very much. We've got Astrid to thank for that. Yeah, mm-hmm. And what an amazing world it is. And like I said before, it's so much a part of our lives now. We take it for granted, don't we? And I think Bill was wrong. The internet did seem to catch on. So there you are. Okay, so we've got this lovely trajectory then for you. You started the website, but then you got more into podcasting, and then you love the video. So you're full blown YouTube influencer now, talking to people about the Algarve. You are, no, seriously. I mean, you are. That's what you are. And it's a funny thing. It's a funny word, isn't it, to use?
It is, and it feels kind of odd as well. Like, because I walk down the street and people are like, YouTube, and I'm like, hi, how you doing? And I didn't think that would ever happen, because I don't have that many subscribers, but like I was in Sintra once, which is far away from the Algarve, as most of you should know. And I was walking around there. I was actually doing a little bit of drone work with my daughter in the forest of Sintra.
Yeah.
And this guy drives past in this big white Mercedes, rolls down the window and goes, "Mr. YouTube." And I was like, "No." And he couldn't remember my name. So he's going, "Yeah, guys, brilliant dude. Well done." And
So good.
it was funny.
That's brilliant. Okay, let's see how friendly our community is, and that we were talking about before. A couple of things.
Scott's comment. Sorry, Carl. He says
What's he
more
say?
paddleboard videos.
Well,
More
I
paddleboard
want to
videos.
no, I'd like more paddleboard videos. I want to find out how to do that and whether it's safe for a man of my age and position in the community. But let's see what people are saying this morning. So Central Portugal, yes, because I was talking about how Central was the current reigning champion. We should probably do this every year. Central Portugal all the way. He beat Heron and Prosecco Peggy, who was representing the Algarve, actually. It is simply stunning here. That conversation will run and run. We are talking about the Algarve this morning. Pete might sledge us a little bit from the comments with his Central Portugal comments. But anyway, Jim White is here from Baltimore in the US. Bon dia todos. Gary Augles. Bon dia, everyone. Cold and windy here in the UK. Portugal mentioned several times last night regarding Maddie and the Australian girl who they've just found. Oh, it's so good that they found the Australian girl. Sad. She too was never found. They did find the Australian little girl, didn't they? Peter Bleach will join you in Central in about 10 weeks, says another Central person. Yes, we love it here in the Algarve. I have salt in my veins, says Andrea, who was keen to find out more about it this morning. Salt air feeds my soul. When you put it like that, I can really understand it, Andrea. Being from Florida, I feel more at home here. So property search here. So they've shifted. I think they've been turned from Central to the Algarve. Suarez there, very active in the presidential election for General Humberto Delgado. Remember him? Yes, I do. Another of your historical figures that you told us about, Prof. April 64 in Geneva, Suarez created the Portuguese Socialist Action, later Partida Socialista. Always good to find out. And yes, Memrise has a free version and the paid version is 34 at the moment a year. Cannot replace me or other real life teachers, but can a base to grow on. Get all the help you can when it comes to learning the Portuguese. In 21 years, Nick, how's your Portuguese?
Mais ou menos. Yeah, I can speak Portuguese, but when it gets to be political conversations, it gets a bit tricky. But,
good.
Yeah.
I mean, so do you stay out of them?
I just sort of nod and smile a lot.
Yeah, or just say, it's complicado. That's quite a good tactic, as Andy told us from Central. Awesome. A healthy move, Portugal. You have to come over for a coffee. Finally getting time to put our channel together. So look, the Bleachers. What's that going to be? At Home with the Bleachers, that YouTube channel there, I wonder. Rebel Mama's here from the north, representing the north this morning. Hola, bon dia a todos. Algarve Museum in Lisbon's amazing. It's the Resistance and Liberty Museum, all about the former fascist government and revolution, includes the lead up to the revolution in the colonies. That sounds like it's worth a visit. 1968, Suarez was arrested again by Pete, the secret police of Portugal, and was sentenced to banishment in the colony of São Tomé and Príncipe. Suarez returned home to celebrate the Carnation Revolution, came home to celebrate the Carnation Revolution. That's fantastic. Drops is another great app, part of my daily morning 10 minutes. Fantastic. Hi, everyone. I got my visa today. Great news. Oh, well done, Winnie. That's really lovely news. Thank you for sharing that with us. Gumpsters. It sounds better than Gumpers. Okay, we might have to change that again then. Parabéns, Winnie. Yes, people very glad for you. And Victoria's here. She's an Algarve addict as well. Quite a recent one. Hola, bon dia, kids from sunny Praia de Rocha, going on walkabout today with Portuguese lessons downloaded. Well done. Which bit of the Algarve did you choose? I'm sure you get asked this question, Nick, because people might home in on the Algarve and think, well, where does the king of the Algarve addicts live? Which bit did you choose and why?
The king of the Algarve addicts. Yeah, it's quite interesting. I chose Cavuero straight away because that's where my cousin's restaurant was. And I just jumped into one of the most beautiful places ever. But a lot of people ask me, where should I live in the Algarve? And I think traditionally, I used to get all these comments from friends up in the UK saying, hey, I'm coming down to Lagos. You want to come over for a coffee? I'm like, my friend, that is 85 kilometers away from where I live. And, a round trip, 160 kilometers, going to have coffee is not going to work. So I think a lot of people traditionally thought the Algarve was just Valdelorba or it's a small little resort. And obviously people now know that it's 150 kilometers wide. So generally, which part of the Algarve should you choose? And it's different for everybody because everybody wants something different. But there are three main areas where people go and the expats live.
Excellent. Go on.
around Almansil, around sort of between Lollet and Villamora, around there. Do you know this area, Carl?
Lulay, I really love. We've spent some really lovely time in Lulay. Love that town.
Yeah, it's stunning, and it's away from most of the tourist hubbub, so it's quite it's quite calm and lovely. And then obviously out west towards Lagos, there's some really bunch of really great people living out there, much more sort of outdoorsy and surfing and hiking and everything. And then there's Tavera as well, which is also quite a big collection of expats out there. And yeah, obviously scattered all the way throughout the Algarve. So I've actually lived in about 4 places in the Algarve, and every time I moved, I was quite reticent to move, but I ended up loving the place more than the other one. So I've lived in Algarve, which is in the orange groves up north of Albufeira, and I've lived in Lollet, which was fantastic, and now I live just outside Saubrage, which is absolutely beautiful. Love it.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's wild, isn't it? And that's the bit you were talking about, where the more outdoorsy people like to be, right? A lot of Germans and Scandinavians seem to be settling in that part of the Algarve.
Well, they're more right out west, towards Lagos, and there's a town called Algesur, which is also quite a small town right on the west coast, and that's where lots of Germans hang out in those valleys. I think there are more Germans there than there are Portuguese, actually.
Interesting. I did notice that when I stopped at the Lidl there. It was a little colony, isn't it? So that's really helpful, Nick. Really appreciate that those 3 distinct areas that helps people, doesn't it? And of course, they are very different in character, aren't they? This stereotype of the Algarve is and I fall into it myself, I have to say, but it's so unfair to think of the Algarve as like a Guinness drinking, golf playing, sort of expat place. That it really is a very unfair caricature, because
Sorry, you're right. I mean, that's exactly what everybody has, and like we were chatting last week or something, we were talking about that ourselves, and also I've got a couple of mates from Óbidos, and people further north who feel that the Algarve is just, as you said, a place to go on holiday and get drunk in a hotel, and there is a lot of that. There really is a lot of that as well. So it's not unfounded. You just got to learn how to avoid it, because if you come down in summer, I'm not going to lie, Villamora is a mess. There's a lot of people down there, and Albufeira as well. It's just even more of a mess. So
but that's such a tiny part of this vast area we're talking about, 150 kilometers across, as you say, and those kind of micro character climates are quite amazing. So over Tavera way, where you can be near Spain, and you can go and celebrate New Year's Eve twice and that sort of thing, or go and have 2 lunches or whatever you want to do and catch the ferry. It's so beautiful and so different to what you've just mentioned there. But then again, a certain time in your life, nothing wrong with going away on holiday for a couple of weeks and being constantly drunk. And what a great place to do
it. And the weather's so different as well. I mean, I remember I often tell the story to people that I was in Saubrage one night, and we had to go down to Lagos all the way west for a function. So it was literally 27 degrees at about 6 o'clock in the evening when we left at my house, and we traveled west to Lagos for it's about 80 kilometers. And when we arrived there, it was 18 degrees centigrade. And then just to prove it wasn't just getting colder as the evening went on, we went back home, and it was about 25 degrees that night at about 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah. So Portugal's like that all over, isn't it? Incredible, the microclimates, literally the microclimates. Sorry, I misheard you then. So you're in Saubrage, did you say?
Sí, Saubrage del Portel, which is a small village.
Oh, okay. I thought you said Sagres. I thought you would say Sagres is far out west, isn't it? So Saubrage, okay, so that's different. And we may need a spelling on that, unless, of course, you don't want anyone else to live there, which is fine too. Bandicoot Divas is the Sikh sort of equivalent of Diwali. So we learn so much every morning, and thanks in great part to Eusebio, MCWT here. Got to be Bayards, the lozenge of choice for the Gumpsters here, or the Gumpers. And Chwini, appreciating our appreciation of the situation there for Chwini too. And the visa, great news. Bon dia from soggy Norfolk this morning. That doesn't sound like much fun. Mark, hope you're well. Looking forward to Nick coming on. So Louise, another YouTuber. Look at this, not only a great community, there's a little microclimate of YouTubers here. When I was back in the UK, his podcast was one of the first Portugal resources I found. So a big and long-standing fan there. That's Louise. Check her channel out. I'm sure you've seen her channel too, Nick. Love Nick's videos. Algarve rocks, which sounds like it should be a festival as well. Post-revolution, he negotiated Portugal's entry into the EEC EU on Os Grandes Portugueses. He was voted 12th. We must look at that list of the Os Grandes Portugueses. I didn't know such a thing existed. Of course it would. Surprisingly, he was a Mason. He died on the 7th of January 2017 and was given a state funeral. Quite extraordinary. Thank you for that. And the legend of Suarez there. Memrise group updated. Just checked in, and we are now 14 people in the group. If you want to see them in the app on your phone, follow each when on the browser. Can you be in the group on PC and app there, Matty? I'd like to know. How long, says Lexi, is the NHR visa taking to be approved? Come back on Monday. We will address that on Monday with Gilda. Carl, you already have a beard. Get a Mohican or grow a mullet. I have no chance of growing. What is that? What do they say? Business at the front, party at the back. It's the Algarve haircut, really, isn't it? and still M's. All still M's, and we'll defo get people talking. No, the idea, Stephen, is to shave it all off and then grow back a tash. So I don't know if it's going to be Magnum or Freddie Mercury. We've yet to decide that. Look at you're already getting advice here, Lexi. We used EI to get the NHR. It was less than 2 weeks. There you go. That's great news. And someone else was asking who EI is. Go to our business directory and look up migration services, and you'll see Gilda and team there. I will take a new profile photo in February. In Madeira, great. Our next visit to Portugal before the big move. Yes, I'm looking forward to that. So any beer pics, you send them our way. How's it, Nick? From Francis. I think that's is that a special South African greeting there?
Yeah, that's exactly how you write it. So Francis obviously knows his stuff because he's probably in South Africa. And just basically, how are you? That's what it is.
Yeah. Brilliant. I have 2 on this day in Portuguese histories too. Come on, bring them on. Morning all. Nick, I love your channel too, says Iris. Your videos are great. Isn't that nice?
Yes, Iris, that's lovely.
Good morning, Nick. Your big fan, Capricorn 12, is here with the Ola Bon Dia Jazz Funk track of the day. Comes from the Gap Band. Outstanding. And that might be a tribute to you, Nick. Sad day today as we hear the news that founding member Ronnie Wilson died yesterday at 73 years old. So a fitting tribute to the Gap Band's Ronnie Wilson. Their Outstanding is a beautiful track covered by Kenny Thomas, I believe. Was this What the Duck is EI? Or Duck, What is EI? That you've got NHR into 2 weeks. In our business directory, Lexi, our 444. Whilst Nick is telling us more about the Algarve, I'll find that for you and pop it on the screen. 9 degrees. That's the temperature within my apartment at the moment. It's funny. Has your body acclimatized to the? Well, how different was the temperature? Was the climate you came from to be here in the Algarve, and has your body adjusted to it by now, Nick?
Absolutely, yeah. The temperature I came from in Cape Town is probably on average about 5 degrees cooler, or maybe 4 degrees cooler than it is here. But it's very similar Mediterranean region because you get Mediterranean regions in California, Cape Town, Adelaide, and Australia. So very similar. And all the vegetation was pretty similar as well. So I love the heat. I really do. So I enjoy. Obviously, it helps to have a pool. So it's kind of vital.
Yes. Okay. Down there it is, isn't it? Yeah. Go on. Sorry.
No, I was saying, or be close to the ocean, but that's it gets kind of expensive down here in the Algarve. So.
Yeah. Bon dia from Pippa, who you spotted earlier on, and how's it from there? Dumela, from a hot Sorry, what was that?
Dumelang. Yeah, that's like Dumela is a local greeting in Botswana.
Yeah, so Dumela, right back at you there, Pippa. Thank you so much. Nick's channel is great. Mike Campion, Bon dia Alegria from Maastricht this morning. We talked about the EU earlier on. Nick and I have bounced an email or two. Get you.
Hi, Mike.
Today in Portuguese history, number 1, 72, Luís Figo, the 3rd greatest Portuguese footballer of all time. I don't know if is that a great honour. I suppose it's better than being the 4th or the 5th, but I wonder how that feels to be the 3rd greatest at anything. The Portuguese footballer of all time is born in 1972, Luís Figo. Well done sporting last night. I watched that in the cafe. It was great. I might need to get in touch with Nick regarding IT business in Portugal, since I'm an IT guy myself, working in industrial networking at the moment. So on that side of the desk, Nick, do you have any interest, or are you completely a YouTuber, influencer, celebrity these days?
No, as I've got older, I've just got away from the tech stuff. It's far too confusing. It's just moving.
Good for you. So from keyboard to paddleboard. Do you see what I did there?
That's very good. That's very
You
good,
could
Carl.
you could use that if you like. And so tell us about the paddleboarding thing. Did you really go along the coast on a paddleboard?
I did. I really did. Twice, actually. And we also did a lovely trip through central Portugal, which is more sort of around your area. If we started off, do you know Cambas, a beautiful little town at the foot of the Serra da Estrela? It's on the
No.
River Zezere, and it goes
Yes.
all the way down through close to Tomar, and then it joins the Tejo River, and then goes down to Lisbon. So we paddled all the way down to Lisbon from Serra da Estrela, really.
Yeah,
It's
that's wonderful.
yeah, 280 kilometers, 9 days. Fantastic trip. Really was amazing. But
Okay.
yeah, the Algarve paddled across twice. And I think somebody asked what time of the day is best to paddleboard.
Yes, that
And
was a good question.
it's definitely in the morning, especially in summer, because in the morning there's no wind, and it's just beautiful and calm and stunning. So the morning paddleboarding is exceptional. A friend of mine does paddleboarding out of Lagos, a guy called Dave, and he starts at 5:30 every morning. Obviously, he starts at sunrise really. So in the summer it can get to 5:30, and it's just the most spectacular time if you can raise yourself from the pillow that early.
It sounds like it's worth it. Another question for you, Nick. I'm working on getting my best friend to move to Portugal, and I think that's a predicament many will find themselves in. You miss your bestie from home, so you're thinking, let's bring him over, and we probably need a separate forum entry on that. How to get your best friends or family to move to Portugal. She grew up at the beach in Southern California and needs to swim in the ocean daily if possible. She will also be broke. So what we're looking for there is good value in terms of housing and access to the beach. So what's your top tip for that?
Alentejo.
Alentejo. Okay. Oh, what? Sort of Villanova de Milfonge, a bit south of there, maybe.
Yeah, exactly around there. I mean, there's not much. It's a beautiful area. It's quite well, and I don't even know what the property prices are like around there. But obviously, coastal living is expensive anywhere in the world. So I think that's your cheapest option in Portugal. Would you agree, Carl?
Well, the problem is the further south we send Rebel Mama's best mate, the further she's going to be from Rebel Mama. So presumably you do want her near you. Southern California and the green coast of Portugal, the temperature will be quite, well, maybe it won't be. I don't know. But if you want to near to where you live, Rebel Mama, in the north of Portugal, you've got to get her checking out Povoa de Varzim up there, first of all, and then maybe work your way down. Or maybe you're thinking of going to the Algarve as well, Rebel Mama too. So I definitely want to talk more about paddleboarding. I do want to take it up as a sport myself, but I just want to make sure it is something that can be done by somebody of my age and level of fitness.
I think we could make an amazing video together, Carl. You come down to the Algarve, paddleboarding together.
Yes, let's do that. What could possibly go wrong? It's going to be like Top Gear, isn't it? It's going to be like Top Gear. You're going to be the expert, and I'm going to be the idiot who just keeps falling in. Now,
it'll be brilliant.
I don't think I've got this photo anymore, but we had a photo of Andrea, who you heard from before, who's doing a headstand on her paddleboard in the water. Wow. Oh, here it is. Look, check this out.
Brilliant.
Isn't that amazing? And let me just take that band off so you can see exactly what is being spoken about. Isn't that great?
That's amazing. That's I can't do that.
She looks like she's on a massive iPhone in the water.
Yeah, it's a yoga paddleboard. You can't go super fast on those things, but they're perfect for.
Okay, so can we have a beginner's guide then to paddleboarding for people? Because there's two things coming together. There's the Algarve thing and the paddleboarding thing all together on this show, and you're the ideal man to talk about it.
Okay, well, I used to run a paddleboarding company here in the Algarve, and I've been certified twice. So I do train people, not anymore because I just love doing it for fun, but I do take people and train them. So there's 4 tips for standing up on a paddleboard. I mean, there's a whole process, but quick 4 tips for balancing on a paddleboard in the ocean. And so you've got to remember these by the time you come down here, Carl. Okay, so number 1, always look straight ahead, never look at your feet. Okay. Number 2 is have soft knees. So keep your knees ready to bend. Don't make them straight, otherwise you'll just fall over face forward. Third thing, if there are any waves, go straight into them. Don't go side on. So you get wakes behind boats, especially around Benagil and crazy areas like that, which you've probably heard of. It's just a mess of boats down there. So they'll be making waves all the time. So you've got to go straight into the waves. And the 4th thing is always keep your paddle in the water. You can try and balance on it like a third leg almost.
Okay, very good. And but then I'm thinking I'm not going to be that guy standing up. I'm going to be the guy sitting down on the paddleboard. Is that going to look ungainly? Is that going to be ungainly and pathetic? And will younger people point and laugh at me? if I do that?
Yes, everybody will point and laugh at you, but it's actually quite acceptable. So a lot of sit-down paddleboarders out there, which is fine, and you can cross your legs, sit down, and get as comfortable as you want. So there's no harm in that. But the best thing to start paddleboarding is to do it on a lake where there are no waves. So then you can get the hang of it. Yeah.
So that's your challenge. The waves, by the sound of it, are the big challenge.
They are, but they're also the most fun, because what I do is I stand up paddle surf. So I go out in the waves and actually surf on the paddleboard using the paddle. And that is the most fun ever. So I managed to get down for a quick wave yesterday morning, which is nice to slice a little bit out of my day. So
you can't, I mean, where I live, I'm very near Nazaré, and I'm never going to be a guy with sort of, tousled blonde hair with sand in it, and a buff body that's mostly tanned all the time, and a surfboard under my arm. So the next best thing would be to become a paddleboarder, don't you think?
Yeah, it's what us old guys do, because I tell you why. I used to surf when I was a kid. I started surfing when I was 14. Right. And to be honest, I sort of took a break from surfing. Then I came to Portugal. I thought, let me start surfing again. And I went out, and all these kids were just paddling around me all the time and stealing all my waves. And I just couldn't keep up. So I was like,
sorry to laugh.
No, but it's true. I mean, I was laughing at myself. And then somebody came up with this brilliant idea of paddleboarding. So I jumped on one of those things, and I caught, instead of catching 2 waves an hour, I was catching 15 waves an hour. Okay. That's amazing. So much fun.
All right. And I'm convinced. Go on.
Old people can do it.
Yeah, that's the second bit, because our demographic here, I think, is probably sort of 40 plus, safely fit. People 50. The concentration is probably 50s and 60s. People, like we've got a growing old disgracefully grey watch kind of program for helping people. You're coming to Portugal, you want to live the good life, but you don't want to become a complete fitness addict and pain in the bum. Not drinking and not eating anything. So this would be quite a good compliment to that, would it? You can still enjoy all the good things in life and still be a fairly competent paddleboarder.
Absolutely, because paddleboarding is really quite. It's not that intense. Depends how fast you go. You can just go and float around there outside on your board, and you can lie down on it if you want to, or whatever. It's just a sort of also like a meditational thing. That's why a lot of yoga people do yoga on paddleboarding, because you're just in the middle of this beautiful environment, and there's it's stunning. So,
and in the scalloped bay of San Martino de Porto, I mean, I've seen people rock up at lunchtime, and they've got a paddleboard on the roof. They can park in the bay, and they just get the paddle. They pull on their wetsuit, dry suit, whatever they're wearing, and then they get the paddleboard off the car. They have a little scoot around the bay. Looks fantastic. Get it back on the car, go back to work again. All very doable, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not like windsurfing. You have to get out and rig it up and do all kinds of stuff. Just take it off the car and go paddling. So easy.
Amazing. Okay, more comments. Today in Portuguese history number 2, 1902, Portuguese reprisals to the Bailunda revolt in Angola lead to the execution, my goodness, of Sisende King Sivava. Portuguese history in Africa is not good. Sadly, no. But I think in many ways, the Portuguese are pretty good at dealing with their colonial past. That's not to say it was a good thing, but how they're dealing with it in the wake of it seems to be quite respectable. I don't know if you would agree with that, Eusebio. I like the book and now film Ready Player One. This is Zuckerberg's vision, I think, that Louise is talking about that you mentioned earlier on. And Capricorn 12, look, love the way you just tell it how it is, Nick. So the qualities of your video then are that you're authentic, you tell it how it is. Why else would people want to watch your channel? What do you think are your qualities that you bring to that, Nick?
Wow, that's quite a question, Carl. I don't know. I really enjoy maps, and I really find that I looked a lot on YouTube, and I used to follow this guy called Ben Brown, who lived in Surrey in the UK, and also had a place in Cape Town. So obviously I'd get all my information from his daily vlogs. And he would go to all these really cool cafes and stuff, and he'd never say where they were. So I'd always have to try and figure out where they were. So I've always tried to do that from the get-go, is show people where I am. And when I figured out that you could actually use Google Earth without having a copyright infringement, then I loved it. So I use Google Earth quite a bit, and maps and stuff, and try and really make it as clear to people as possible where things are. Otherwise, I think telling it like it is trying to be authentic is hard, because I'm sort of generally quite a positive person, so I might come across as very positive about the Algarve, because I love it so much. But I'm also trying to say, it's not for everybody.
And
Portugal isn't for everybody either. You know, some people who have, you know, first world problems, or they need their McDonald's on a stick or whatever it is. I don't know. You know, it's like, it's not always like that here. So, so
Well
it's not.
said. Well said. And maybe we don't want those people here. Okay,
Yeah.
am I allowed to say that? That's why I sought Nick out and others like him before I came. I've never watched the official stuff. Yeah, I mean, it is amazing to complement all the Visit Portugal stuff. And it must actually be quite difficult being them these days, because there was a time, wasn't there, where countries would just rely on their tourist board to put messages out. And now, of course, you know, for every country you can think of, there are many, many influencers and YouTubers who'll be telling you how it is. Even just TripAdvisor. You know, everyone's a critic, aren't they? Rural Algarve, I think Capricorn 12 appreciating your coverage of the rural part of where you live. More paddleboard videos, please, Nick. That's going to happen, right? And maybe the one with me and Nick learning, or me learning. I found it and subscribed, and we'll watch videos later. So yeah, seek out Algarve Addicts and subscribe there on YouTube. Don't you feel like you have really started living again? That's interesting. Do you feel like you got a new lease of life when you came to Portugal, Nick?
Well, it took me a while. I mean, I was here for 10 years and I was sitting behind the computer and doing my sort of digital marketing and stuff. And then I suddenly realized, wow, what am I doing? Because when I was a kid, I was hiking and stuff, and hiking and paddleboarding, not paddleboarding, hiking and surfing. And I was actually a river guide in South Africa. And I was also a game ranger as well. So,
wow, what a guy. That sounds, and that must have been awful for you then, to find yourself in paradise, but stuck behind a blooming computer screen. What
exactly. So I thought, how do I get out from behind this computer screen? And then that's when I started this blog, Outdoors in Portugal, and started the road to making these videos. And that's why I love making these videos so much, because I can get out and about, and I can also still come back in and edit in my little garage here.
So is that your man cave?
This is my man cave. Yeah, I just sort of built this wooden wall at the back here to try and make it look a little bit more respectable, because it's just, you know, and then behind this curtain, you don't want to see what's behind that curtain. So.
No, okay, we won't. Oh, we do now. But what I think, you know, let's guess what's behind Nick's curtain. He probably won't show us. But what I think is
I can show it. Do you want me to show you?
No. At any moment, you open that, and there's like blue water and white sand. And
that's beautiful. Yeah,
the Algarve is right there, and there's a selection of paddle boards you could just pick from. Just run into the water. Just throw all your clothes off and run into the water. That's what I think is behind that curtain.
That's exactly what is behind the curtain. I don't want to.
Yeah, let's leave it like that, shall we? It's a Dzień dobry from Poland this morning, and Mike saying it was Nick's videos that started us off with our Portugal Algarve journey. Can't wait for February to move across. You're inspiring people. Matty saying, "Carl, when you say from the north, I hear in my head, winter is coming, gentlemen." And that meme of the guy standing on a rock in bear skins, I suppose. It's not so bad. Jeff's here as well. Bon dia, Carl and Nick. Wishing we had the Algarve sunshine here today, over there in the States. Gumpster, like dumpster. We're still working.
Carl, what's that Gumpster?
Well, okay. I'm glad you asked. We're looking for the collective noun for people who watch the Good Morning Portugal show, and people have been starting to say gumpers, and then we've got a bumper sticker, the Gumper bumper sticker. So that's us. Gumpers do it every morning, you see.
Really?
But there is some association, understandably, that people don't like with that. So we are working on that at the moment. German Matty says, Germans, don't mention all. It's okay when he says it. Nick has a great video on his channel about all the different areas of the Algarve. So is that one of the most popular on there? What are the most popular ones for you on your YouTube there, Nick?
Yeah, it's funny when you look at YouTube channels, you know, you generally have like one video that just went sky high and crazy.
Yes.
So yeah, that's mine. Thank you so much, Solo 50 Plus. I don't know her name, but I have spoken to her.
That's Louise. That's Louise. And how many views are we talking about for something like that?
200,000.
That's amazing, isn't it? And my most popular one's not even on my own channel, which I'm quite peeved about. But it's with Josh and Kaylee's channel, and then my missus, who's not really she is a YouTuber, but not of our stature, Nick. She's got the most popular video, more popular than any of mine, on Josh and Kaylee's channel as well. Sorry, were you going to come to the defense of Mrs. M there?
No, but I just remember seeing your video there. It was popping up on my feed all over the place. And then I saw her video. So she was kind of like dismissing your video, wasn't it? Or
she was.
What was the response to this?
That is part of its popularity. I love Albufeira, says Jersey B. Never make that mistake about the Algarve. East, west, central, all different, all lovely. Yeah. I mean, you can't talk about the Algarve without going into the stereotypes and the caricatures, if only just to challenge them. And here's a question for you. I've written on the screen there, Nick. Nick live from the Algarve. Do you capitalize the T or not?
What, the Algarve?
Yes. Is the phrase the Algarve and it has a capital T? Or is it just the Algarve that has the A? How do you go about that?
I'd capitalize the Algarve, but it's actually quite interesting because a lot of people, actually some person commented on my video quite vociferously saying, it's not
one.
the Algarve, it's Algarve.
Yes,
and you can't say the.
Yes. Yeah.
And some people live in the Algarve, other people live on the Algarve. So whatever you want. There's
and
no
it does sound a bit pretentious, doesn't it, to say I live in Algarve. I think that I think it's accepted now, isn't it, that people do say I live in, like you just said, I live in the Algarve. But there's always somebody like that who comments on YouTube chat. There has to be one. It's the law.
You get some fun comments.
Yeah, you do. Good morning, everyone. I'm glad to join you all live. I was not getting my notifications. We'll have to do something about that. We're not on Facebook anymore, talking to Facebook, but we're only on YouTube now, and we've made that leap. Hit the like button, folks, and make sure you subscribe to Algarve Addicts as well. Are you all right to chat for a little bit longer, Nick?
Yeah, sure. I got time.
Fantastic. We all know what haircut you should be going for. Grade 2 at the sides and a long strands to come over in the middle. He's talking at me, Nick, not you. Don't worry.
No, but I am combing over. I'm combing over.
Oh, we all. And when you get out of the sea from the paddleboarding quick, you can be the front cover of my Central Portugal comb over coffee table book. That is an offer I cannot refuse. Thank you. I feel honored, Pete. Thank you so much for that. Bom dia from Antonio F., resident Portuguese here. That board trip sounds great. Me, Luke, and Alex, more YouTubers, are going to do our version of either 3 Men in a Boat or far more likely Squeal Like a Pig Deliverance. Okay. You know where the paddleboard coach is. He's in the Algarve.
Yeah, let's do it together. That'd be great.
Oh, man, that would be fun. Bon dia, Antonio F. from Simon, who's also here this morning. You'll need, what's this? We're going to need a bigger boat, aren't we now? Ferragamo rocks, says Eric Willingham. Good morning to you, Eric. Okay, so how do you respond to that? The best of the Algarve. Is this what you're saying earlier, Nick? You know, there's something different for everybody down there. You can't really have a best bit except on a personal level, which Eric seems to think is Ferragamo.
Ferragamo is a beautiful place. There's nothing wrong with Ferragamo. It really is. So I don't know what else to say. It is lovely.
No, okay. Another one for this is turning into a massive man cave outing now. There are so many people who want to do this. We're going to look like processionary caterpillars, aren't we? In a paddleboard. What is it? Is it called a paddleboard flotilla? If there's loads of people on it.
Yeah, you could call it that, or you could call it a crew or whatever. You could. And where are we going? Are we going to paddle across the Algarve together? Yeah,
let's do it. I'm up for it. We need to make rash promises in a live situation, such that these things happen. What a place to get to learn to paddleboard, says Raphael, who's here this morning. Not your average globetrotter. And yes, this phrase, benzinese. So that is part of the advice you gave, isn't it? Benzinese. I think it's the Swiss ski instructor, isn't it, that says that. Carl, don't paddleboard in that. I will not be doing that as my first trip out. Otherwise, I'll never be doing it again, I suspect. That sounds great. Boogie boarding is great. What's he talking about?
Do you know what boogie boarding is?
I've heard of it, but I don't know. I couldn't say what it was.
So we were talking about this yesterday, actually, because all surfers are surfers, and we're supposed to be all part of the same community. But there are boogie boarders, which is bodyboarding. Like you lie down on a. It's on a lie. Yeah. Then there's normal proper surfers, and then there's stand-up paddleboarders, and there's longboarders, and there's a bit of a hierarchy out there. And unfortunately, boogie boarding or bodyboarding is right at the bottom of the hierarchy, and they get a bit obsessed. So there's a lot of tension between surfers and paddleboarders and boogie boarders, but we're all surfers. We're
going to find out now. Angry comments from boogie boarders incoming as we speak. Used to catch more waves than my surfboards. That's why it's easier, isn't it? Cape Town is great, but for a river tour, surely you need a boat and some rods as well. So are you a fisherman as well? It's a great place to fish. Are you a fisherman?
No.
Okay, simple answer.
I'll tell you why. Because I would, when I was a kid, we go fishing with my dad and on the coast, and you have these huge, big, long reels. And then they'd always get wound up, and he used to go, "Oh no, you got another bird's nest back in your reel," and I could never undo it, and I never caught anything, so I just thought this is a bad luck. Never done it
Apart from
again.
a bird's nest. Okay, yeah. And have you ever found, we were on the beach a couple of days ago here at San Martino, and I was reminded of that stuff. Is it called ambergris? Have you ever found that on the beach down there? It's a kind of, it's supposed to be, someone told me it was whale earwax, and some people think it comes from whales, but it's a little lump of resin that's really expensive, and it's a real find when you find it on the beach. I think it's called ambergris. You've not come across that?
Never in my life. That's amazing.
Okay.
So I'll be looking at this one.
Yeah, little resinous lump of stuff,
Okay.
and it's really, really expensive, and it's real. It's like striking gold on a beach. Somebody here will know about it, and will tell us in just a moment.
Not an oil
Antonio,
spill,
well, that's what you have to be careful. It's not an oil spill, so
Okay.
you know your ambergris and the difference between that and a small oil slick. Yes, Joao F is here. Finally managed to join in. Thanks, mate. And let's see more questions for Nick. Incoming, I'm sure. We have Jean here as well this morning. Hola, bon dia, Portugal in 16 days. Well done. Lisbon for 3 days, then down to Tavira for 3 weeks to look for an apartment to lease. So how's that going at the moment, Nick? Finding a place to live and rent down there, is that a good market to be in?
Yeah, but it's hard. I mean, there's not many places to find to rent down here. It really is hard, and I think a lot of people expect that you can have this massive selection. But it is tough. And also because obviously a lot of people like to rent during the summer season here in the Algarve. Yeah. So they will rent it out just for a week and they make phenomenal amounts of money. And then, they won't rent it out for a full year's lease. So it's quite tricky. And obviously because of all the D7 visas coming in, we need a lot of 12-month leases. So it's a problem. It's a problem.
Yes, it is a problem. Any hacks for that, or is it just a problem?
I've actually made a video all about trying how to find a rental property. So there's just a whole list of resources online that many people will probably be aware of, like Idealista and Flatio.com and Airbnb, and you can just try and find somebody through there.
I know what I'm doing after the show. I mean, watching Nick's video and finding out how to find somewhere to live in the Algarve. That's going to be really helpful to our community here as well. Thanks for that, Nick. Tourist boards, even less popular than boogie boards by the sound of it. So passe. Rebel Mama, my bestie can be in the south because I love the heat. Also, I'll gladly visit her lots. There you go. And you can be on that train. Can you imagine that, being on the Alpha Pendula from Braga right down to the Algarve and having breakfast on the way, seeing the Alentejo. Is it Alentejo or the Alentejo? I'm in doubt now. And what a beautiful journey that will be. In fact, looking at a southern visit for a quick dose of heat soon. What are your lowest temperatures in the Algarve of the year, Nick?
Well, like you were talking about it, obviously it varies from place to place, but where I live in São Baraj del Porto, it goes down to about 5 degrees in the middle of winter in the mornings, and then it's up at about 15, 20 degrees. Well, not 15, 16, 17, 18 degrees during the day.
So even that differential. You stay in bed then till lunchtime and you're going to be fine.
There you go.
Nailed it. I mean, that's the Portuguese way, isn't it? Is to stay in bed quite late and to
Do
get up.
You notice a lot of people walking around in their dressing gowns on Sunday afternoons in the streets?
Not really. No.
You get that all over the Algarve. Always see people in their pajamas during the day.
Well, all looking like the Big Lebowski sort of thing. Is it expats or is it local people?
No, I think it's more local people, I think.
That's incredible. Okay, so there's a thing. Quite fine to wear your fleece or fine Egyptian cotton robe around the streets of the Algarve. You heard it first from Nick Robinson, the Algarve.
I've seen it happen. I've seen it quite a lot. I was like, it's normally in the sort of smaller villages where the ladies are obviously sitting in their dressing gowns all day, and then they sort of pop out to go and take the garbage or do something.
Now you mention it, yes, because they might have the standard tabard style house coat on underneath, and then to go to the bins or to go and meet Maria down the street, get the dressing gown on to get the bread or to share some produce. Yes, I think that's absolutely right. That does ring a bell. Nubian, I really enjoy Nick's videos, and why I can't wait to start paddleboarding in the so it's like, oh boy, I can't wait to start paddleboarding in the safer Portuguese waters.
It's a really good point that she brought up, Nibianet, is because obviously down in the south here we don't have these horrendous big waves that you do all the way down the west coast of the Algarve, which I personally love. I don't like big wave surfing, but it's nice to have some swell. So down here in the south coast, obviously it's much calmer, as anybody would know who's been here before.
Okay, nice to have some swell. That is also a bumper sticker, I believe. I'm shocked. The two biggest Portugal personalities in one place.
Max is awesome. We chat all the time. How's it going, Max?
Well, yeah, I mean, he's quite a guy, isn't he? Let's face it. Good to see you there. Have a great cheers, Max. Thanks for popping in and being so kind. Have a great day, Gumpsters. I'll see you in the dumpster. We can't be the Gumpsters who are in this dumpster. That's terrible. It's getting worse now. Antonio F. Sorry, that's not for me. I'm looking at these, or I'm not looking at the ones with the at on. But I think I've missed the question from Bearders. Why am I not seeing that? But so maybe re-ask that, Bearders. Great question. Come on, Nick. Did you see that, Nick? Somebody called Bearders22, who's here from time to time, asked the question, and I just cannot see it now. Oh, here we go. Where is the best place to buy boerewors and biltong in the Algarve? So that's a really important question for the South Africans there.
Very important. Well, there used to be Intermarché and Cavuero used to actually sell boerewors and biltong.
Really?
But there's a guy in Almanseel. There's a place called the Natural Meat Co, and they'll make biltong for you. And yeah, I think there's definitely a butcher in Portimao who does make it. But and there's also another guy called Savannah. He makes all kinds of stuff. So not a problem.
Easier to find than baked beans or Marmite, it would appear. There's your biltong and boerewors down there in the Algarve. Algarve Addicts was the first channel to get me interested in the Algarve, says Jean. That's fantastic. And Barbara's, I think, going, have a good day, goodbye. I'm tired after COVID. Oh, no, Barbara, get well soon. So many old people here. It's actually the Algarve. That's terrible.
Max and his comments. Wonderful.
Yes, Max and his special sense of humor. Nick, that is a great video. Love the degree standard of information delivered in a rapid short fire piece. That's how to make a video. Degree standard of information delivered in rapid short fire piece of information that you can easily remember. That's the way to do it. Okay. Well, in Germany, people also say they live in Bavaria, for example. I wonder what that means. Wasn't it called the Kingdom of the Algarve there? So this is a controversy. I think we stepped into some controversy there. Carl, you missed my comment to Pete about joining him, Alex, and Luke on the riverboat trip. So there are loads of us now, I think, who want to get into this. A big paddleboard extravaganza. We'll have to get let's get our agents talking about this, Nick. I love Gale. Now, is that a kind of South African meat, or is that a place in the Algarve?
I think it might be Galé, just west of Albufeira. Which is a lovely little beach, beautiful beach restaurants as well.
Nice. Hey, new one to me. Thank you for that, Peter. Good morning to you. Nick has a clear love and passion for the Algarve, or for Algarve, which is what is attractive about his channel. So the clear love coming through. As a Portuguese, here we go. We might get the final word on this now. Probably not. If I say I live on Porto, or I live in Alentejo, I live in Beira Alta, etc., so I would say I live in Algarve. So that is perhaps...
I'd love to ask as well if he says, is it o Algarve, or how do you say that in Portuguese?
Well said. And even the Portuguese will argue between themselves about this, obviously, like they do about everything, right? Nick, have you paddleboarded around the Arifana beach? Or the
sure have. Yeah, I love Arifana. It's getting very, very busy these days with lots and lots of surfers, but it's a fantastic place to surf. Yeah, and actually we paddled all the way across the Algarve from Sagres to Villarreal Santo Antonio in Spain. And we missed out that section from the Alentejo down the west coast towards Sagres. So we attempted to do that one day, and it just got a little bit too heavy. So we pulled in just before Arifana, actually. And
you do a lot of these trips with your daughter, do you? So she must be a very competent boarder.
No, don't do it with my daughter. No, I'd love to do it with my daughter. But she's only 4. She's 14 now, so she probably could. But it can get really demanding at times. There was one stage we had to walk 5 kilometers holding all our packs and our boards, and we were near breaking. So yeah.
Okay, so Iron Man style, so in the water, out the water, hiking, amazing. Okay, we have some great comments coming in. Who knew there was a surfer food chain? And you mentioned there's more surfing. Is that right? There's more surfing action. The world is turning its attention towards Portugal for surfing. Are you seeing a swell in that? I'll use that word.
There's definitely a swell there, yeah, for sure. I mean, Portugal's amongst surfers. It's always been really good location to surf that people have known. But obviously with Nazare and Garrett McNamara, who actually I walked past the other day and I didn't tap him on the back and say hello.
Wow.
Have you heard? Do you know Garrett McNamara?
Yeah. He's a legend, isn't he, of surfing? Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's incredible.
Legend, yeah. And he's older than me. He must be like 55 or something.
So he must never have to buy a drink anywhere he goes.
Yeah, he
Quite
is
right.
a true legend. But I think he's obviously publicized surfing, and he got in with the tourism board as well and did a really great job for surfing in Portugal. So that's
Okay.
helped a lot. Yeah.
So on the up there, a tide that we're all rising with. Fantastic.
Nice.
I'll get the name. Yeah, I'll leave it there. I'll get the name, but it's actually whale vomit. So it's not the earwax or the belly button stuff of a whale. It's actually their vomit. I think it's ambergris. If I say I live in New Jersey, that would mean the state of. The New Jersey would imply the battleship. It's not getting any clearer, this is it? I'm still not clear.
Is there a battleship called the Algarve? There's the thing.
And what? And then people actually believe you live on a battleship, just moored just off Praia de Rocha there. I'm curious. Okay, question from Jeff. I'm curious about what Nick thinks about the feasibility of living in the Algarve without a car. Great question, Jeff. We're thinking about going car free for at least a few years. Are there locations that would accommodate this lifestyle?
I was quite amazed by this question. I started getting this question quite a lot. And Jeff, I would say the short answer is no. It's crazy. You can obviously you can sit in the same place for the rest of your life without a car, but it's just harder to get it. You know, I mean, there's a train line. Say again, Carl.
That wasn't the answer he was looking for. He's not about to become a contemplative yogi in the Algarve. I think he does want to visit places as well.
No, we zoomed in. So are there locations that would accommodate? I would say, look, I mean, if you can stick to Faro or you can stick to Villamora or something like that, sure, you can say that. But I'd like to get around a bit more. So I think I use a car all the time.
Okay.
Yeah. Hard not to.
I've embraced that. I didn't want to have my own car, but now we do. And I think Portugal is a car owning place, and that may change, of course. Or the way we own cars. That's probably the thing that needs to change, isn't it? Is how we own them, not whether we need them or not. Because at the moment, I think we probably do, don't we? I do have the right name. Look at this. So here's another income stream while you're paddleboarding. It is ambergris. It's whale vomit, and you can sell it for $40,000 a kilo.
I have to Google image search this.
I thought you were writing it down so you could be looking out for it. But that's going to keep you in clover, isn't it, for the rest of the year, or a couple of months at least. People expect rentals to be cheap here in the Algarve, but it's one of the nicest places in Europe to live. Yes. Why would they expect it to be cheap when it's so nice? They're just looking for a bargain, aren't they? Ambergris, says Nubionet, is found in Washington State and the Canada coasts. My friend who's a perfumer searched for it for her products. A better technique than killing the whales for it. Absolutely right. No killing of whales sanctioned here. Go on,
it
mate.
Originates in the intestine of the sperm whale. Did you know that?
I didn't know that. I knew it was connected to whales, and we can't countenance the killing of them for it. So our best bet is to be looking for it washed up on a beach somewhere, and there you go, a kilo of it. I mean, you always carry a carrier bag just in case you find.
Whale vomit.
Yes, you probably don't want to be touching that with your bare hands. If you're a dog owner, you're probably at an advantage. Okay. Any more questions for Nick this morning? You've been very, very generous with your time. Thank you so much, Nick. Is there anything we've missed? An important thing you might want to say about the Algarve that I haven't had the presence of mind or intelligence to ask so far?
No, I mean, people ask me this question all the time because I chat to people and they say when they're moving over to Portugal as a whole, and they say, what is something that we've missed? And I say the only thing that what I say to them all the time is that don't expect things to go right all the time. Because if you expect the worst, then things will go down. And things do take a long time here. And obviously, I think everyone knows that it seems like the majority of the Gumpsters are here living in Portugal already. So we all know this fact. And it's
no, a lot of them just seem like they do. And this is I think what you do and what we do here is a vicarious way of enjoying the Portuguese lifestyle. So as Portuguese as they sound and feel, many people are on their way here. But you're absolutely right. I don't think we should be sharing it as an utter paradise. It's pretty good. I mean, we are talking about 80 or 90% paradise, aren't we? And then notwithstanding those little things that the paradise makes up for. And, these are cultural things you're talking about, I guess, aren't they? That you just have to get used to. And clearly you have in 21 years here.
But it also depends where you come from as well. And I think, I think in sort of first world countries like the USA and things like that, or the UK, where you expect things to happen immediately and you get upset when they don't, that just doesn't cut it here.
Well, interestingly, in both those countries, that's just not happening anymore anyway. So people are getting acclimatized People
And
are
that's the
getting
one thing I get worried about, because I've been living here for 20 years. You know, the whole world, and I think that Portugal, I don't know how to explain this really, but I think that, for example, in South Africa, I lived in South Africa 20 years ago. So things have changed in those 20 years. So when I say Portugal is not like South Africa, or I compare it to South Africa, I'm not comparing to South Africa present day. I'm comparing it to 20 years ago. You know what I mean?
Very, very, I do. Absolutely. Very interesting. And that's definitely an expat's situation, isn't it? What else can you compare it to? Only what you did know rather than how it is now. Language evolves. When I lived near San Francisco, I was in the Bay Area. It gradually changed over 30 years or so to the Bay. So now every time someone says, I live in the Bay, I wonder if he's friends with SpongeBob. Okay, Francis, look, you've got him mouth watering there. I feel like biltong now, and just had a pack this morning. So you already had some and you want some more by the sound of it.
That's only 25.
Yes, a greeting from Iceland. Look, Jandis Helena Mitchell. I finally managed to join the live show. So good to have you here. Thank you both for your contributions on YouTube. I appreciate your videos. Well, bless you. Thank you so much. Jandis, we'll go with there. Ron Clark, what would be a realistic price for a T2 in the Algarve? Can you answer real estate questions, Nick? Thinking of relocating in 2023 when I retire. Had enough of London. It's it's finished. It's official. London is finished. It's done.
And the Algarve is just starting. Yeah.
Yes,
T2 in the Algarve. Obviously, it depends. You know, you can get a T2 for $1 million if you go down to Quinta do Lago. But generally, if you go and look in Lule or normal areas of the Algarve, it's probably anywhere between 200 and 250,000 euros, I would imagine. So,
all right, there you go. That probably was for buying for Ron rather than renting. But on the rental side, what are we looking at? I mean, obviously, several thousand million euros in the summer. But then, the great thing to do in the Algarve is to get an autumn or winter let, isn't it? That's a smart thing to do, to acclimatise yourself to that part of the world. Let's see if you like it, and it's a great place, as Nick says, for getting the train and going up to the rest of Portugal. What might a winter let cost if somebody was smart enough to do that?
I don't know. I really don't know. I haven't looked for many lately, but I mean, depends what I get. Maybe $1,000 a month. I don't know. Maybe cheaper.
You get something nice for that with a sea view, I suspect, for $1,000, and possibly cheaper if you know people. You've got to know people, haven't you? That's the thing, isn't it? Is to get to know someone on the ground before you come, and the prices will be very different.
Yeah.
Okay. We have nailed
research on that, though. I'm curious now.
It's fine. No, I really put you on the spot there, and I think it is how long is a bit of string, but that's not a bad guide. You'll certainly probably get a bit of change out of 1,000 if I know, if I make a generalization about all of Portugal, which you probably shouldn't do. Also, several Portuguese have informed me that a well-used phrase in Portugal is "it depends." So there is the definitive answer to whether it's Algarve or the Algarve. It depends. And Louise is in as well. So there's going to be loads of us there, all making programs for our respective YouTube channels about Nick teaching us how to stand up paddleboard in the Algarve. That is going to be a lot of fun. For your information, ambergris is prohibited. Oh, no. So if you are picking it up on the beach, hand it in. I suspect, and split the money with the police or something like that. Come to an arrangement with the appropriate authorities on that.
About targeted smugglers. Sorry.
Oh, really? So are you researching it live now?
Yeah, I'm just Googling it. It's brilliant. And one of the top questions is, why is ambergris illegal? So there you go. Jersey hit it on the top.
Why, oh, why? About the former way the Portuguese referred to Algarve, that is different. The kings of Portugal were also the kings of the Algarves in plural. That changed over, so it really does depend. That changed over time when Algarve became just a province. And the Algarve is not a big enough phrase. Those two words are not enough to sum up all the beauty that you've heard about this morning and wonder of the place. King of the Algarve Addicts is with us just for a few more minutes. Now, you have to have a car here, but get an electric one. They are just so much fun, and long-term, if you look at the pumps or used car prices, it makes sense. Thank you very much. Bearders22, had that great question before. Go on, mate. Yeah.
Sorry, just one question. Not question, but a point about electric cars. The nice thing about electric cars is you don't have to pay the 27% ISV tax.
That is well worth knowing.
You can get a €3,000 rebate if you're early, because they have an allotment of those every single year. So electric cars make a lot of sense.
All the way. Thank you very much for that, Nick. Just had my COVID booster and flu jab in the UK yesterday. Is the same thing happening in Portugal? Yes. Well, we have a rear admiral who, I love that phrase, who has been spearheading the vaccination campaign in Portugal, and a very good job they've done of it too. I'm feeling like a pincushion this morning. Well, all the best with that. Yes, Antonio F. Answering your question. Nick, that is so true. Remember, things don't happen quickly in Portugal. Relax, take your time, and expect the unexpected. Ubi Ominum is here with the bon dia as well. And there was a very, very good question. Has he seen UK supermarket shelves? I don't know who that was, was that about London being finished or not? But somebody asked a brilliant question about the 5 least good things or similar. Oh, yeah, Harish Hirani. This is going to be so difficult. Name 5 things you do not like about the Algarve. Only one or two. Have you ever been asked that?
No, but I think that's I have to think about that, don't I? It's what I don't like about the Algarve. Well, I tell you what I don't like about the Algarve. One point is the fact that we don't live all in a big town like Lisbon or something, or a big city. That everything's spread out, and so you'll get everything's quite far away down here. That's quite interesting. August. I don't like August in the Algarve, especially August in Villamora, to be more specific, because I know places where I can go to a beautiful idyllic lake in the middle of August and then not a soul around, and it's not that far away.
Sorry, you made me laugh then, made me cough a lot. But it's 30 degrees Fahrenheit this morning in Cowpatty, PA. Do we think that is actually a place in the United States? I don't want to hear anyone say Portugal gets cold in the winter, so stop it. Yes, stop it. Look at poor Nick. He's shivering there in 9 degrees. Poor bloke. We'll have a crowdfunder to get him one of those really expensive fan heaters. Max has got some. The drivers, poor construction.
There we go.
Laziness, hard to learn language. I'll give over, Max. And as long as we can now call it the Facebook, like the old days, the Facebook, and we probably will do that, won't we? And then just find
like Portuguese do.
Seriously.
Yeah, it's all face. Yeah, it's done a face.
There's some extra knowledge for you this morning. Nick, thank you so much. I think the last thing to do is probably spell the name of your town, if you're happy to do that, because I thought you were talking about Sagres, of course, and you were talking about somewhere very different to Sagres, I believe.
Should I spell it slowly? Should I go?
Yeah, go on.
Okay, so it's SAO with a tilde on the A.
Oh, a tilde. Okay, I've got me. No, I can only do an alt-G, so that's not going to work. I don't know the thing for that. You've put me on the spot there, but I'll just put an accent. I'll show that there is something on there with an accent, not the right one.
SAO, then the second word is Bras, BRAS, with an accent aigu on the A.
Yeah.
And then space DE, space ALPORTEL.
Okay, now I see it written down. I know exactly what you're talking about. So that's quickly said is Sabras. Okay,
Sabras. Just east of Lule.
Just east of Lule. A great moment to say thank you. Muito obrigado to you, Nick Robinson of Algarve Addicts. It's been such fun having you here. You know you're always welcome, don't you?
Yeah, thank you so much. I'd love to come back. This has been really, really, really good fun.
Oh, good. And a great, it was like a book signing almost, wasn't it? So you get like a video signing, an Adobe digital signature over your videos. So we'll do that next time. Nick will personally sign with a digital signature any videos that you like. All the best ones. So yeah, thanks, Nick. And we'll see you we'll get our people to talk to your people about the great big paddleboarding event for over 40s, maybe.
I'm looking forward to that. And cheers, Carl. Thank you so much for inviting me. And thank you so much to all you Gumpsters out there. It's been wonderful to meet you.
Yeah. Perfect. Take care, mate. We'll see you soon.
All right. Ciao.
All right, bye for now. There he goes, Nick Robinson, everybody. Amazing, eh? What a lovely bloke. Thank you, Nick, for your insight about the Algarve. So just a couple of minutes remaining. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the Movember situation. Have I still got the T-shirt on? Yes, on the back of my chair here. This is a prop for what I want to say now. Later on today, I'm going to go to the barber. And again, you have to take your time with things about Portugal, as we've just discovered there. Let me just, so when Nick watches this on the replay, thank you, Nick from Gene. Thanks, dudes from Nubianet, the surfer talk there. Jeff Jackson thanking us with a nice hand. We do like a nice hand on our opening. Thanks. Oh, no, it's a warm hand on our opening, isn't it? Thanks, guys. Brilliant show from Iris there, and Joao F and Francis all saying thank you to Nick. Very good, friendly community with excellent manners as well. Okay, the Movember business. And I do believe, oh, look, and a message from Nick himself. Thanks, guys. That was so much fun. Lovely to meet you all. Fantastic. I'm looking forward to talking to Nick again. And that paddleboarding thing will be great, won't it? See you soon from Owen there as well. Owen, you're coming with us, aren't you, on the old GIF of paddleboarding event? That'll be so much fun. All right, Movember. Let's have a look at this. Francis yesterday mentioned this to me. And I think, the fellas, anybody really, but perhaps the fellas of the male gumpsters, if you like, might want to get behind this. Who wants to grow a tash this month? Should we get Michael Heron to do it? We should remind him, shouldn't we, that he said yes to it yesterday. I think we can probably just about twist that, can't we, and twist his arm. So this is what we're talking about, Movember. It continues as an important thing around the world, it looks like. And this is a very poignant and difficult subject. But the whole point of this is that we perhaps should be talking about it more. And why mental health, they say at Movember. The results of poor mental health can be deadly. Globally, a man dies every minute from suicide. Men, regardless of age group, don't often recognize when they're experiencing a mental health issue and may not be comfortable asking for help. The uncomfortable truth is that some stereotypical forms of masculinity are killing men. And I'll very briefly read these because I think they're very interesting. And I'm sharing this with you in the hope that maybe some people might want to grow a tash to raise awareness. We'll have a bit of fun doing it, raise awareness about these issues. How money is given, I don't know. That's another part of this, and you might want to do that in the country of your origin, as Francis will be doing. I know he's got a collection going over there, but the main thing is to begin this conversation, I think, about this. So at Movember, how we're helping men to be mentally healthy, and I know this is one part of what they do. They're talking about sort of male cancers as well, and getting blokes to be a little bit more open about their health and not just to wish it away or not talk about it. But I thought this was a particularly useful focus. We're committed to looking at the issue of mental health through a male lens, and ensuring that the programs we support and fund are tailored towards men. We're funding initiatives that's number one, develop successful scalable models to improve the mental health and well-being of men. This is number two, challenge the negative aspects of masculinity and the impact this can have on mental health. 3, encourage men to stay connected with friends and family. And 4, bring conversations about mental health out of the health system into sporting clubs or workplaces. That's got to be something worth getting behind, hasn't it? So I've also, a long time ago, and I've been wanting to donate this to a mental health charity for men, or any mental health charity, but I drew that. I was inspired to draw this, I don't know, about 10 or 12 years ago, and I'd gladly give this I had this t-shirt printed in Leria, and I'd gladly give that logo design, is it a logo, that image, to this same cause, if anyone would find that useful. So who wants to grow a tash? Ladies are invited as well. No, we're not exclusive here. So if you want to grow a tash, and I know the men of the Man Cave are getting behind it, Man Cave, tomorrow night. Andy will also, let me share, this is what Andy has done in the past. I'm sure he won't mind me doing this. And if he does mind, we will talk about it in a grown-up way that suits the progress and the evolution of mankind, of men. This is him. And I need to point out to you that he's the one on the left, in case you were wondering. And there's a nice tash that he grew. That's quite a nice set of face furniture there, isn't it? Quite a nice bit of face fungus that he's grown in a previous year. I don't know what he's up to this year, whether we can inspire him to grow a Magnum PI, that sort of nice floppy one that comes over the lip, a sort of tidier thing that a lot of the footballers are wearing now. And I think it needs to be attached. It can't be a full set. So I'm going to have a haircut later on, and I'm going to get my comb over done, Pete, as Pete's requested, so I can be in his book. And this is coming off, and then I'm going to grow a tash back, and you'll see that unfold almost live on air over the next few weeks in this November. Going back to Nick, that was great. Thank you for introducing us to Nick. We'll be watching his videos soon. Turns out we are half an hour from him. How fantastic is that? Not sure about paddleboarding, but I think I can stretch to doing the Hawaii 5-0 canoe dance. And we talked about the Gap Band, didn't we? Lead singer of the Gap Band, I believe, has passed away just recently. And the tribute track of the jazz funk canon today was outstanding. Of course, they did Oops Upside Your Head, which had many people sitting on dirty dance floors, getting their bottoms, getting their white jeans all dirty, doing the Oops Upside Your Head rowing song. Yeah, he will be missed. But did you say the lead singer there, Capricorn 12 of the Cat Band? So yeah, Hawaii 5-0 and the rowing song. We can all do a little bit, Eusebio. Thank you, everybody, this morning. We'll see you again tomorrow morning for Feel Good Friday, and I'll carry over all the images I didn't share today. We were busy with Nick, weren't we? Algarve Addicts, Nick Robinson. We were talking to him. So we'll carry anything you sent to me yesterday or today. We'll do that tomorrow on Feel Good Friday, and we'll be having a chat with Jenny, who will be here. I'm always up for a paddleboard. Now, hold on a minute. That's a wrong comment. I'm always up for a paddleboarding session, says Francis. So presume you'll be bringing your kit when you come over. Portimao has good transport, but rent a car if you want to explore. And Matty, Algarve Addicts, to Nick. Very nice to have you, and we'll check out your channel. Very good, folks. See you tomorrow, guys. It's the best. The best. Not its best. Very good. See what you did there, Eusebio. Thank you. Great show. Have a great day, peeps. Of course, I will share the rest of the comments that you put in now over the end titles, which I'm struggling to find right now. But here they are, I think. Goodbye. Ciao, ciao. And see you tomorrow for some Feel Good Friday.